in paradise, I kinda like it. I'm paralyzed, why can't I see your face? Feel the same way, why don't you say my name? Yeah, in paradise.
All right, welcome back to a new episode of Plant-Based Besties. I'm Joey Troxel with my plant-based bestie here, Debbie Chu.
Hello there. Is that your radio voice, Joey? I love it.
That's my, hey, we're back after these messages. Yes. Someone said I had a face for radio once. I don't know. All right. So, Deb, the world around us is changing. I don't know if you're aware of that. Have you noticed that? Like, things are just changing.
I know. It's crazy.
And I'm not talking about politics, right? So one of the things that's interesting is, I follow Dr. Furhman, right? And, I don't necessarily eat the way all of these people eat in the plant-based community. I eat plant-based, of course. I'm an actual vegan, but I eat plant-based. But, I value everyone's opinion because I feel like I can take something from everyone's, kind of idea, right? Because, we're all different. And, Dr. Fuhrman wrote a book in 2004 called, I think it was Eat to Live, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it was very popular. He's an authority on this nutritarian way of eating. Yeah. And all that stuff. I think everyone in the vegan community is aware of it. And one of the things we argue with meat eaters about is that eating meat causes you to lose calcium and strength in your bones and makes your bones brittle, and that osteoporosis is kind of brought on early or attributed in some part to meat eaters.
And dairy.
And dairy, yes, and dairy, right. In fact, I remember saying to people, because I just regurgitating stuff I hear online, right, that if you look at the places in the world, the zones where they don't eat dairy, their bones are much stronger and they don't have osteoporosis. But if you look at the big societies where they get a lot of dairy, true, they do get a lot of calcium because it's added to the milk, but they have a much higher rate of osteoporosis. That's the stuff that kind of came out of that early information from Dr. Fuhrman and what a lot of us have been saying. So he had a new podcast. He has a podcast house, which is really good. You and I both love listening to podcasts, and he changes his mind on some of this, and based on research over the last 20 years, which is how science works, right? You have to prove something to be false for it to be false, right? So, or for it to be true. So I'm going to share my screen here for a minute. I'm going to show you. What his. I'm just going to play a clip of this podcast.
When I wrote the book Eat to Live in 2004, which means I wrote it in 2002, to be published in 2004, I wrote in the book that eating meat contributes to weaker bones and osteoporosis. And I think in the last 20 years, that's been proven to be incorrect. Meat does not increase risk of osteoporosis because even though it causes a negative calcium balance, over time, the body adjusts to that balance and starts to hold on to calcium. And also, because people don't digest protein as well as they age, the extra protein from the meat can help build muscle and keep muscle and bones strong. So the overall effect is that meat is not a significant risk factor for osteoporosis, like I thought it was, and that the vegan and plant-based community advocates that it is.
All right, so pretty interesting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of changes a lot of what I thought, right? One of the benefits of a plant-based diet or a vegan lifestyle, if you're a vegan, is. And it's a little bit shocking, but kudos to him for going to listen, right? Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
I was like, what doctor ever says stuff like that? Reverses their, I'm like.
No, they die first, right?
I was like, standing O on that one.
Yeah. Here's what I got out of that clip. Right? I have a few clips, but out of that one, he was incorrect, and he comes out and says, now that we have much more research, this isn't necessarily, eating meat isn't necessarily a something that's going to lead to a higher risk of osteoporosis. So he's correcting it. The second thing is, if you noticed, right, he says the extra protein from eating too much meat can help build muscle and strengthen. We're not meat advocates here, but just let's talk about the protein, right? We would get it from other places, but the extra protein can help build muscles and strengthen bones in people as they get older, which is basically our whole kind of mission in life right now, right? To make people, aging people, aware they need protein as they get older, because as we age, we don't digest protein as well as we used to. He says that right there, right? And then, he says that meat is not a significant risk factor for osteoporosis. Now, Deb, I don't want you to get disappointed that meat's all of a sudden back in, right? Because, meat eaters are still killing the animals. They're killing themselves with, arteriosclerosis and high blood. I mean, it's still a horrible thing, right? But we don't necessarily know that it's, contributing to osteoporosis. So it's not like our whole lives have been for nothing.
Right. Thank God. Okay, so another thing, I don't know if you have this clip, but another thing he says in the video, which I thought was really interesting, is the extra animal protein does increase your IGF-1 hormone. And the IGF hormone is what is cancer promoting. It helps tumors grow. It accelerates cell replication. So that is what happens when you eat too much animal protein.
Yeah, he does later on go into why animal protein itself is still bad. But he that part of it, and that's toward the end of the video, but that part of it just kind of says, hey, you're not necessarily going to get osteoporosis just because you're eating meat.
Right. He's doing it in regards to bone health.
Yeah, you can rest assured you'll most likely die of heart disease. So you're good to go, right? So there's that. All right. So so Deb, so this brings up another question, right? If meat eaters are not at a greater risk of hip bones or bone fractures, then who is? I'm going to play another video from that same, another clip from that same one, all right?
In the EPIC Oxford study in UK, that study showed vegans had a significant increased risk of hip fracture, like 30% more hip fractures than did meat eaters. So that vegans were the higher risk. So that people in the meat eating community blaming the vegan diet and causing osteoporosis, and the people in the plant-based community saying a meat-based diet causes osteoporosis. The reality is that a vegan diet can contribute to osteoporosis if it's low in calcium and low in protein.
All right, then. Yeah. All right. All of a sudden, listen, we haven't been talking in vain for 2 years, right? So let's break that down, because that right there to me is kind of like what I've been waiting for. Yes. And there's more to this, because he starts going into which diet they use in this study, and we'll get to that in a minute. All right. But so he says right in the video, the Oxford study shows that vegans had a significant increased risk of hip fracture by 30% over meat eaters. That's scary. All right. Why is that happening? Well, he says because a vegan diet can contribute to this if it's low in calcium and low in protein. So this sounds very familiar to everything that we're trying to push to people. First of all, I think that I find it hard to believe any vegans are low in calcium, because if you eat tofu like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, tofu's loaded with calcium, right? Like, I feel like even out on starch solution, I got enough calcium. Don't you? Or
because you're eating spinach and that all has calcium.
But the protein part of it, we know that if you're not protein forward or protein focused, you're easily not getting enough protein. And in this situation right here, so many plant-based diets, and by the way, he's using the word vegan for the diet. I don't see any comments on his thing saying that it's not correct, but okay. So it's the protein that we as vegans need to make sure, we need to make sure we're getting calcium, but I have a feeling a lot of us are eating tofu, right? But we're not, and tofu's got protein in it. It's high in protein, but it's not like seitan or something like that, right? So he says right in the video, it's happening because some vegans are low in calcium and protein.
Right.
So we have been promoting this for a while, right?
Yeah, a couple of years now.
Yes. What are your thoughts on hearing an actual vegan doctor, right, talk about, hey, we're going to start eating more protein, like knowing that what we've been doing, and remember the comments we got in our groups and on this podcast.
Yeah, we were crucified.
Yeah, you lost your way. McDougall didn't get through to you. Blah blah blah. I'm so sorry to see you do this. I can't. I almost felt like, oh my God, what have we done? Right? Yeah. Weren't you just like, oh no? Well,
yeah, I knew we were going to get. I knew there was going to be backlash. I knew there was going to be blowback. And that was fine. I just had to do what was true to me. But to hear Dr. Furhman, who's a well-respected doctor in his field, It's just nice to have confirmation that what we've been talking about has the science to back it up.
Yeah, other than the science of we had to experience it, right? Like other people
Right.
haven't, and now it's a thing, right? So
Yes.
I think he probably suspected this for a while, but now he's kind of got the proof to come out and say this, which is great. So I've got one more clip I want to play for you, right? And let's play that, clip number 3 here.
Okay.
We do recommend eating a diet that's more protein adequate, but we want to get it from plants because animal products increase all causes of death, meaning cancers and heart attack risk and death. And plant proteins will reduce cancer deaths and heart attack deaths. And we can get adequate protein, even if our diet is totally vegan, if it's well designed.
We said this in our previous podcast, but you kind of have to eat with purpose, right? So, no matter who you are, no matter what diet you're on, you're eating foods for a certain reason. It's calories in, it's fuel, it's energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you lose focus of that, now you're on a path that could become very, very destructive. But he says right here, so you need a well-designed vegan diet that includes plenty of protein. Plenty. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say the bare minimum. He says plenty, right? So he says in his podcast that he takes people on a starch-based diet, which is, what we were doing. He takes a starch-based diet and puts it in a calorie tracker. And then he puts his nutritarian diet in a calorie tracker, 1,600 calories each. And he winds up with 45 grams of protein for 1,600 calories on the starch-based diet. And this is potatoes, oats, grains, corns. Mm-hmm. And he winds up with 85 grams of protein on the nutritarian diet, which he promotes, right? Which I guess is more nutrient-based. You can have some fats on that, nuts and seeds, because they're full of protein. I don't think they're full of protein, but they have some protein in them, and it raises it, right? So he goes into all of that and explains why the starch-based diet is too low in protein for you. Mm-hmm. And why his version of it, the nutritarian diet, which includes more fats and more protein foods, is a better option, and has almost double the protein. Also, he checked calcium too, and it was the starch-based diet had half the calcium, which I find hard to believe. But tofu is a really good source of calcium. But on
the starch solution, we weren't really eating a lot of tofu
because it was a yellow light food. Yeah.
Yeah. So
really,
they're not really eating that much tofu.
Yeah. So when it's a high starch diet, right? They're not eating a lot of tofu. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So which is the part that's really good for you, right? Because it has the protein. So there's a lot of information, but he's basically saying that a high starch diet is not going to get you enough protein, which you and I had to realize ourselves, right? And I think others are. So what is the optimal amount of protein per day? Well, there's an article from the National Institute of Health, the National Library of Medicine, and the article is called Protein Consumption in the Elderly. What is the optimal level intake? And I think it's like from 2017. And it says in that article that the optimal amount of protein for you, if you're an elderly, gaining age or aging person, is 1.2 grams through 2.0 grams of protein per day per kilogram of mass. Now, we don't use kilograms in the US, we use pounds. But for me, for 155 pounds, which is 70 kilograms, I should be getting 70 to 140 grams of protein a day, which is what I'm doing, right? And how many times? I keep getting comments like, why do you need so much protein?
I know.
No, 70 is the minimum, right? I'm in that range. I'm at like 120. Like, it's not too much protein, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to figure out your kilograms, just take your weight, divide it by 2.2, and that will get you your kilograms. Because people are going to say, how do you figure that out? And that's how you figure that out. But yeah, I do the same. So, and I eat like between like 110 to 120, just depending on the day. So we're in that range. And that's the thing. It's a range. It doesn't have to be like every day I got to get this much. It's the same with your steps, your whatever. It's like, it's a range. So you don't need to be so hard on yourself.
No, you just want to get the minimum and then get what you can. So kind of a big eye opener here by Dr. Furman, and stuff that you and I have believed for a while now, right?
Yes.
It's why we pivoted from the starch solution. It's why a lot of people, we get some crazy comments, but 90% of the comments are like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting for. I knew this was happening. I'm so glad that we're now getting more protein. I felt like we're not surprised, and neither are most of these people.
Right.
He goes into osteoporosis, which as we're getting older, I feel like is something that we think about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people our age now, Deb, when I was younger, we're all like really old and unfunctionable. And I feel like you and I are not, hopefully not anywhere soon, right? Like with that, we're both healthy. We're both, are in good shape. So, but osteoporosis is a concern. There's an article from the National Institute of Health from July 2019. It's called High versus Low Dietary Protein Intake and Bone Health in Older Adults, a systematic review. And it says in the article, the summary is that protein may play a beneficial role in the prevention of bone loss and in slowing down osteoporosis. The effect of dietary protein may be different in older adults compared to younger adults, since the population is in greater need for protein. So it says in that article, since we're not, we need protein more because we're not absorbing or digesting it like we used to. So having extra protein isn't going to hurt us. And that protein helps ward off osteoporosis and prevent bone loss. Right. From the National Science. National Institute of Health.
And it also supports your muscle. And that's a big cause for hip fractures, is because people are weak and they trip and they fall. They don't have core strength. If they get off balance, they can't steady themselves. They fall and break a hip. So it all goes together with the protein and the calcium and all that.
I'm so glad we're hearing this. It's funny. I have 3 classes every day, and now I've got freshmen. I met them for the first time this week, and we're working together, and something will fall on the floor, and I'm like, can you pick that up for me, please? I'm a senior citizen. I could break a hip. And they're like, you're not a senior citizen. I'm like, I'm a senior citizen, really. Like, pick that up. That's my new thing. Can you pick that up? I might break a hip. Come on, right?
I've been saying that for years.
My husband, can you get that, sweetie? I don't want to fall down and break a hip, right? But the truth is, like, we don't want to break a hip, so we're like, getting protein. All right, so fuel for the fire, right? Like, I'm sure this is going to be controversial. There were the comments. If you read the comments on that video, many of them, I would say again, 90% of them are very supportive. Well, I'm so glad that you had the kudos to correct this and listen. I've changed to protein too, and I support you. And most of them will really get it. But then there were people who, of course, were not nice and were upset that, there are people even going, just eat carnivore, problem solved, all that nonsense. But I think overall, most people are supportive when change is realized like this. So, yeah. All right. Anything you want to add today, or?
Well, just especially coming from, a well-respected doctor in his field.
Oh, yeah.
And he is like the king of research. He doesn't say things lightly. He does a lot of research, and I really highly recommend his podcast. He does that with his daughter.
Yes, they're both great.
And she's not a medical person, so I like how she breaks it down so it's more understandable. And she's like, okay, what I'm hearing you say is, and then she says it back in a simpler term. And I think they're a really good team.
I love that, because she obviously knows the medical stuff because she's translating what he's saying, right? So she's heard her whole life, right? Yeah. But she's just like you or I. She's a vegan that wants it in plain, right? Yeah. So that dynamic, the way they do that is everything. I absolutely love it. You're right about that. His podcast is amazing. I listen to it all the time. So that's how I came across this. I was like, I'm working out and I hear this and I'm in the middle of a set. And I go, what? Like, I almost dropped the weight. It's like, wait a minute, guys, everyone around, hey, hang on a sec. I need a few minutes to listen, right? Like, his podcast is amazing for sure. So let's wrap it up here for today. And we hope you got something out of this. If you did, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're on Spotify or Apple or wherever else you get your podcast, leave a review for us. Let us know what your thoughts were. If you have any ideas about this, if you have ideas for upcoming shows, we'd love to hear it. Reviews really mean a lot to us. We're just getting started. I think we're closing in or over 1,000 downloads now, right?
I think we're almost to 1,000.
Yeah, that's amazing. So very proud of the show. It's doing good. So
and we're having fun, and that's what matters.
We love it. It's amazing. Yeah. All right. So Deb, if they're watching YouTube, do you want to have a word for them on this? What should they put below if they got this far?
Let me see. Let me get my creative juices going. All right. If you've made it this far in the video, comment below with, how about osteoporosis? No, don't do
That's
that.
so hard to spell. That.
How about bone health?
Bone health
Comment-
is great.
Comment below with bone health.
Bone health,
and then
right.
we know you made it to the end, and we appreciate all your support.
Yeah, if you're an overachiever, then go ahead and put osteoporosis. But otherwise, bone health is fine. All right, that's our show for today. We thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.